Hello, 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 hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the JT Talks Jobs live podcast, where I'm currently live on TikTok, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube to thousands of job seekers, career professionals that are looking to get ahead. If you want to earn more money, if you want to stress less in your career, if you want to love your work, again, maybe you've fallen out of love with it, I am your girl. I'm JT O'Donnell. I'm a 20-year career coaching veteran who used to work in the staffing and recruiting industry. And now I help thousands of people every single day like you get the results they're looking for by teaching you the opponent's playbook. My job is to help you understand what's really going on over on that hiring side. I'm going to give it to you straight. What recruiters are looking for, HR is looking for, hiring managers are looking for. I'm going to tell you about what's happening in the market at any given time. Because if you have the right knowledge, you can get the results you're looking for. Knowledge is power. And unfortunately, most of us are completely unaware of what's happening and how to get the results we're looking for. And so if you've ever used a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer or an accountant, a personal trainer, a stylist, somebody, whatever, anytime you've seek the guidance, the counsel of a coach to get you some results in your life, you did that because you understood that would speed the process up for you. Instead of you trying to figure it out for yourself, you work with these people that have all this knowledge and they hyperspeed that process for you. Career coaches are no different, especially when you've been doing it for as long as I have, right? My mission is to speed this process up for you by closing your gaps in knowledge. You're all paying what's called an ignorance tax. All of us are guilty of paying an ignorance tax when we're trying to make something happen in our life. We don't know what we don't know. And that's the very thing. That's the ignorance of it. And so you really want to get that information in order to get ahead. And that is why I go live 3 times a week to help you. Now, my live JT Talks Jobs happens every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on your favorite social channel. So if you want RSVP, you can do so on YouTube, on LinkedIn, or on good old TikTok. Again, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, you can come join me live here. And if you can't attend live, you can watch the recordings. Okay? Awesome. All right. So I'm going to be getting a lot in today, taking the questions from all of you. Don't be shy. There are no silly questions. My goal is to just provide you with as much information as I possibly can. And these sessions are only as good as the questions I get asked. So, the harder, the better, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's see what's going on here and what questions I can answer. Let me bring some stuff up here. I interviewed at a major company and they said they would get back to me 3 days ago. So, okay. So what do you do when you interview with a company and they give you a specific date on when they're going to get back to you? For example, they say, we will be back in touch in 3 days. 3 days comes and goes. Have you officially been ghosted? No, not necessarily. Companies will give you a guesstimate of when they're going to be able to get back to you. But let's be clear, stuff happens. Stuff really happens. They can have other people they need to interview before they can give you an answer. Maybe the hiring manager's out. They need feedback. So those 3 days can turn into a week, can turn into more than a week. Here's what you do know. If they give you a set date that they said they would get in touch with you and that date comes and goes, give them a day grace period. All right. And then you can message them and say, I wanted to be proactive and see if there was anything else I can do to further my candidacy. Really simple. Don't try to sell yourself, right? Don't make them feel bad about not having followed through when they said they would. Don't be passive aggressive. Simply message them and say, I wanted to be proactive and see if there's anything else I could do to further my candidacy. Now, if they don't get back to you same day or the next day, still no big deal. You got to give it some grace there. But if a week passes and you haven't heard anything from your proactive, then yeah, I'm going to say you were ghosted. And now what you can do is send another email. And this is when you can say, I wanted to close the loop. I'm going to assume that you found the right candidate. But if I'm still in the running for this position, could you let me know? Right? So you say very positively. So you say, I wanted to close the loop. I'm assuming you probably found the candidate for the job. But if I'm still in the running for this position, could you let me know? You don't say anything more. You don't try to over-explain it, because what that says to them is maybe you've got other offers, right? And you're just checking in. So if you're still in the running, someone's going to respond to you at that point. But if you don't hear anything, then yeah, you're done there. Does that make sense to everybody? So again, You let the time pass, you give it a day beyond when they say. You send a very simple message. I wanted to be proactive, see if there's anything else I can do to further my candidacy. You wait a week. If you do not hear anything, you send the message. I'm closing the loop. I'm assuming you found the right candidate for the job, but I wanted to check in case I was still in the running for this position. If you hear something back, great. If not, you're moving on. And that's it. And that's how you close the loop and move on. Because a lot of us sit around with a job crush, and we don't need to job crush for a company that isn't crushing on us. Right? That's all. We don't need to. But remember, we're selling ourselves. We're the service provider that wants to be paid tens of thousands of dollars. So we are going to have to do these steps and not have a hard time about it. The key is knowing when to do it and what to say. I see people all the time that either follow up too much, and that alienates you because now you look desperate and pushy, or they don't follow it up at all because they feel like, well, it's the employer's responsibility. Both of those are not good answers. You want to know the right thing to say and when to say it and follow through. So that's why I love that question. Thank you for asking it, because it allows me to guide you all to be doing the right things based on those terms while still getting you the results that you need. Awesome. Okay. I'm about to get an offer for a job I don't love, and I'm still waiting on 3 other offers I want more. Very interesting. Okay, so that happens a lot, folks. So we call it trading up problems. The first problem is I don't have any job offers. The second problem is I have a job offer, but it's not the job I ultimately want. I'm still in the running for the other. Here's what I'm going to say to you. There's never been a truer phrase than a bird in the hand is worth more than 2 in the bush. What that means is if you've got the bird, right, in your hands, that is way more valuable to you than you staring at 2 in the bush and hoping you might catch them. You could end up with 0. That is so true when it comes to job offers. If you get a job offer and you don't love it, the first thing I always do with my clients is say, is there room to negotiate? Is there something we could do to have a conversation with them to sweeten the deal, to make this deal feel better for you, more equitable, get you more excited about it? And we negotiate that. But if you get the offer and we negotiate, you accept. Now you can check in with the other companies and say, I've received an offer, but you're my first choice. I'd love to stay in the running. Can you let me know if I'm still in the running for the job? Because you never pressure a company telling them you have an offer and pressuring them. They'll take you out of the loop. They've got too many to choose from right now. They don't need you. So you want to be very careful with how you approach the companies that you want to work for. And you start with, you're my first choice. Can you tell me if I'm still in the running? I know you can't speed up your hiring process, but can you tell me if I'm still in the running for the job? That way, if you are, you keep pursuing it. And if by some chance you end up getting that job, then we decide whether or not you want to take that one and quit this one or what happens. Companies understand, if they could offer you a job and rescind it the next day, if something changed in their world. Something changes in your world, then we deal with it. But what you don't do, what you never do, is you don't say to them, hey, I'm really excited about your offer, but I'm waiting to hear on 3 others. Once I hear from those, I'll let you know. You will immediately have that offer rescinded because you've just tipped your cards to them that they're not the first choice. And no employer wants to be your second choice. They never want to hear that. Okay. That would be like in the dating world being told, well, I'll date you right now, but you're not my first choice. The moment somebody better comes along, I'm dumping you. You never, ever say that to employers. So you negotiate the job, you accept the job, and if you get the other jobs, we deal with it then. Okay? Awesome. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is a really good thing. Eugene is saying, a friendly reminder to everyone to stay in your job until you have a new contract. I could not agree more. This is not the time to quit a job without another job lined up. Not this market. Not right now, folks. There is not 2 jobs to every one person. We are in a white collar job recession right now. Legit data to prove it. If you don't believe me, I've been saying it for a while, but just last week, Business Insider published the data around it. It's a very real thing. So you don't leave a job unless you have a job. If you've lost your job due to a layoff, we're working really hard to get you rehired. And I would strongly encourage you to look at contract work. One of the first things that will rebound even before the full-time jobs will be contract work. Because what companies do, especially after they've done a lot of layoffs, they say, well, let me hire some temporary workers, contract workers. And then if I'm really sure this job is going to stick and I need this person a long time, I'll bring them on full-time. So you'll see a surge in contract work in 2025. And those are going to be great opportunities to get your foot in the door at a company that's not hiring full-time, but eventually will be. So be thinking about that as well. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's take a look at some questions here over on LinkedIn. What do you do? Oh, very interesting. Carol's asking, what if you feel the job is with a toxic company? You accept it in the same way. Okay, let's talk about that. What if you get a job offer right now and you got a bad vibe about the company? You're thinking they might be toxic. Here's my thing. Once you have a job, it's easier to get a job. I mean, I'm not making that up. There's a lot of studies to prove that. And so getting a job and saying, all right, I'm here temporary. They don't need to know that, but I am just here long enough to get a better offer is the way that I would look at that right now. Because the moment you get redeployed it to other companies, they're like, oh, wait, we could snatch him or her away from this company by offering them more money. So you take the job, but you double down on your job search. Yeah. In this market, definitely. Yeah. Let's see. I have a business development and sales executive. I have numerous at the last stage interviews and MDs and board members. Which I'm trying to read this through. Let's see. What about what if I'm permanent and I get a better position with another company, but only for 11-month contract? That's a really interesting question. What do you do? So what do you do when you have a full-time job that's meh and you get offered a really interesting job, but it's contract? That is something you need to think about because contractors can be eliminated at any time. And when you're eliminated from a contract, you're not a direct employee. So depending on your state and your situation, you really need to look into the employment law in your state. You may not be eligible for unemployment. So I'm not usually a big fan of leaving the full-time for contract unless it's like so lucrative and you're absolutely sure it's going to be there for 11 months. Like I would build a contract and say, you are guaranteeing me for 11 months. And if you terminate me for whatever reason, I get the difference in pay. Like there's some things that I would want to coach you on to protect yourself against in that situation. So do your homework before you make that decision. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Okay. Very good. Let's see. This is so interesting. I want to go so many questions here. All right, hang on, folks. So second interview with the vice president asked what quality ideal candidate has. He replies, not the smartest in the room. Interesting. Okay. So, okay, that's very interesting. So you ask this VP, this higher up in an interview, what qualities do you most look for in a candidate? And the VP says, I'm looking for the person that isn't the smartest person in the room. What they're really saying is that I don't want the person that acts like they're the smartest person in the room. And there are people that do that. They come in, they own the conversation, they dominate, right? They act like a know-it-all. They're kind of busting in and giving their points of view. They don't read the room. They don't have the emotional intelligence. They're not sitting back and listening, right? They say we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen twice as much. They're not doing that. So anytime somebody says that to you, what they're saying is, I don't want the person that is overdoing it. And I'll tell you something, a lot of people are guilty of that. A lot of people get into interviews out of sheer enthusiasm, right? Like they're pumped, they're ready to go. They want to show this person how much they know and how ready they are and how excited they are. But in doing that, they oversell it. In doing that, they come across really overbearing. And that works against you. It does. It means you can't read the room and, be calm enough to create an environment that's open for both sides to be comfortable. You're pushing yourself onto this situation out of excitement or desperation, right? Or whatever. But it lands wrong. Emotional intelligence is a big, big deal in interviewing. And so you want to make sure, folks, that you're thinking about that very mindfully when you're in that interview, because people do overdo it and their energy and their enthusiasm is just too much. And that dynamic can come across really wrong. So be careful, especially when somebody says something like that to you. They're either telling you that because they want you to understand it, or they're telling you that because maybe up until this point, that's how you've been acting in the interview. And they're trying to subtly say to you, hey, this is what I'm not looking for. Yeah. Thank you to everybody that's logging on today. So good to have you here. Again, we're live on LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. Thousands of people answering your questions as best I can, anything related to job search and career growth. I made it to the presentation round. Any advice to stand out, JT? Oh, I love that. Okay. Folks, anytime you make it to presentation round, it's usually one of the final rounds of a job interview. This is the moment to validate you know what you're talking about. This is where you have to give them the information that says, I know how to solve your problems and alleviate your pain. And so what you might think when I say that to you is that you need to get up there and really just tell them everything you know. I'm not. It's not what I'm talking about. If you really know your craft, you are going to know how to convey this without having to oversell it, overtalk it. You're also going to be able to know that I don't have all the answers when I do this presentation. It's okay to solicit the feedback and engage the audience that I'm presenting to so they feel part of the conversation, part of the solution that I'm proposing. One of the worst mistakes you can make in presentation phase is to be overconfident and talk like you'll have to do this and you must do this and this is why you have to do this. You're using language that's so definitive and so strong that the people on the panel are going, well, that's not right, or he or she clearly doesn't know us. We're unique, we're different. You have to be careful in your language. You have to present with confidence, but understand that you don't have all the information. So it's okay to solicit the feedback, the engagement, and help make them part of that process, because that's going to show them that that's how you're going to work alongside them when you get the job. So very important that we figure that out. And so be thinking about that. Presentation techniques are key, but again, engaging the audience, soliciting the feedback, not making any over the top statements, like adamant statements about this has to be done this way and it's too much. You've got to be super mindful of the fact that the room that you're presenting to knows more than you do. They've been there. And as long as you understand that, you can present, but communicate in a way that says, hey, I understand that. Really, really important when you get to that phase. I hope that made sense. It's probably not the typical advice you would get, but it's something I see happen all the time. People get in there and they just overdo it. Yeah. All righty. Let's see. What other questions do we have today? Very, very good. Yeah. How do you okay. So how do you maintain relationships with recruiters? I love this question because anytime you actually interview with a recruiter, especially at a company that you're interested in, that's the beginning of the relationship. You may not get that job, you may not move forward in that process, but there's nothing stopping you from checking in with them proactively to nurture that relationship. What I advise you to do, though, is not overdo it. So a lot of people check in too frequently. I think that every 6 weeks is more than appropriate to reach out to a recruiter that you had a conversation with and say, hey, I really enjoyed when I chatted with you. Would love to stay on your radar screen for future opportunities. What's the best way to do that? That would be the first thing I'd do. 6 weeks after my last interaction with them, I would message them and say, I really enjoyed chatting with you. I'd love to stay on your radar for future opportunities. What's the best way to do that? Right. And they normally will respond back to you and tell you. And then every 6 weeks or so, you can message them and say, how's it going? And what I always suggest is that you send them something of value. You want to be memorable by serving them, not asking for something. So you might find an article or a video or the company won an award or something, and you message them with that. Say, hey, this came across my desk. It made me think of you. Hope you're doing well. Would still love the chance to, have another shot at your working at your company someday. Something nice like that. But you're leading with value. It just kind of shows them that you're not somebody that just gratuitously checks in. You actually want to find a way to serve them as well. It sends a really good message. And then you do that every 6 weeks or so to check in and you nurture those relationships. Now, I know you're saying, well, JT, I want to do it more than that. You don't need to. They know where to find you. You do it any more than that, you look desperate. So you got to pace yourself, right? You've got to make sure that you're giving them that space. Otherwise, it'll be too much. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. Let's see. What should I do when I've been asked to interview for a position that's already been filled? Ooh, interesting. So anytime you're asked to interview for a position, folks, that either isn't published or has already been filled, it can indicate that they're looking to make a change internally. And there's a lot of that going on right now. There's a lot of companies right now that are looking at their headcount and saying, you know what, we need some fresh eyes in here. We need some new blood. And there are some people that just have been here too long and we need to make a change. And so let's go find their replacement so we're not in the lurch and then we can let them go. Oh, yeah, that's happening. That's happening big time. So if you get contacted for a job that's not public, a lot of times that hidden job market, it's because they're doing some stealth searching for the right candidate. My advice is to find out why are they hiring, why are they still looking for someone in this position? And they'll generally give you the info of what's going on. But for me, it's usually because they're making a strategic hire or a strategic change that will require them to hire someone in order to let someone go. So be careful. Yep. Let's see. What to do if you just started a job and where your boss is not professional? Ooh, yeah, that's hard. What do you do when you start a new job and your boss isn't what you thought he or she was? Maybe you find them unprofessional. Maybe you just personality wise clash, but you're starting to feel like, oh, I'm going to dread going to this job every day, right? What do you do? Honestly, folks, you start looking for a new job. I can't tell you how many times people have said, well, I've just started, so I'll stick it out for the year, and they don't make it a year, right? Or it gets so bad they quit and now they don't have a job and now it's harder to look for a job. If you get into an environment and it's just, sirens going off in your head, start looking for work because you're not going to find a new job in a day or a week. It's going to take time. But at least what it does is say to you, every day you go in here, hey, this is one of my last days here. I didn't know that this was going to happen till I got here. This happens sometimes. It's not the right environment for me. You're doing them a favor as much as you're doing yourself a favor. Because the sooner you get out, the longer they invest in you, the more they've lost. So if you really know that this is not a place you're going to stay long term, and I'm telling you, you'll know. You don't wait around. You don't push it off. You get going with your job search. That frees you up and you go find a better job that's a better fit, and it gives them a chance to fill it with somebody who it's a fit for, but you don't wait. You start looking ASAP because they're not going to change. A boss is not going to change, right? They have the job before you were even there. So the only thing that's going to change in this situation is you and your status there. And I would much rather see you get a new job on your own terms than it get to a place where you don't get the decision gets made for you. I've seen that happen a lot because you get frustrated, right? And they can feel it and they can sense it. And all of a sudden you're out the door. That's not what you want to have happen here. Yep. Okay. Let's see. So what do you do when a company invites you for a job interview, but the pay is really low in your mind? Well, the first thing you have to do is ask yourself, is it low to me or has the market shifted? Because there are a lot of jobs right now, folks, that are now available for half what they were paying right out of the pandemic. Like post-pandemic, companies were throwing crazy money to get people, and now the salary bands are dropping like crazy. There's so many people available to work, and companies know that they can get talented people to work at half the price. So you want to be mindful of that. If I was you, I would definitely go on the interview, and but don't go if you're not going to take the job at all. Like if you're like, I physically can't take the job for that amount and they've told you there's no wiggle room, don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. Don't waste your time. Okay. If anything, I would go to them and say, I would love to interview with you, but that's literally below my walkaway rate. I need to make more than that without having to look for another job. And so I don't want to waste your time. I want you to find somebody. But if you are willing to come up to X, I would love to interview. I just can't live on that wage. I can't, that's not in my salary range that I can accept right now. But I'd love to interview with you. I just can't do it. But that's only if you really can't do it. If you can, again, and if you're unemployed right now, the goal is to get back and be employed, because the moment you're reemployed, you keep looking for work and companies will be knocking on your door. So for many of you right now, you are going to take a job that's significantly lower than you were making. But that's going to get you back to work. That's going to end the unemployment gap. And then you can build off of that and go after jobs that are paying more. So you have to consider all your options there. You really have to do it. Yeah. Got to do your homework and decide, can I take that job at that price point? And what it'll mean if I take that job in terms of being able to get back to a higher paying job faster, because people who are employed get job offers more quickly than people who are between jobs. And that's just an unfortunate reality, right? So you got to weigh that option. Yeah. Okay. How to put long-term self-employment on a resume. Yeah, let's talk about that. Okay. So what do you do if you've been your own boss for a really long time and now you want to work for someone else? I get that question a lot at work at Daily, and I'm going to break it down for you right now, the things you need to do to help you speed up this process. Because the number one issue everybody's going to have when they see you've worked for yourself for all those years is that you're not going to like working for someone else. They just automatically make that assumption that it's going to be hard for you to be told what to do by somebody else. Okay. So you're going to have to offset that mentality. You're going to have to educate them on that fact. And so, first of all, breaking out your self-employment on a resume is key. If you can break it out and show how you progressed, even as a freelancer, as a contractor, as a person that ran your own company over time, can be really helpful. But if you can't, then you're just going to put that on there along with your accomplishments, and you're going to focus a lot more on your story. So your story is, why are you looking to work for someone else now? The thoughts are going to be, all right, something's wrong with your business. Maybe something's wrong with your health. Something's going on that you can't keep doing it for yourself anymore. So they immediately assume that there's something negative going on. And you're going to need to offset that as quickly as possible. Now, I like to teach my clients who've been self-employed for a long time the disruptive cover letter technique, because this is one of the ways that you lead with a story and you control the narrative about this. Okay, because there's only so much you can do on the resume, right? So the disruptive cover letter would tell the story of why you're such a fan of their organization in a way that they go, oh, this person really gets us. That's so intriguing, right? We teach you how to write this really compelling story. It's not a cover letter. That's why we call it a disruptive cover letter, because you're sending it in, but they open up and they go, whoa, what is this thing? That's a disruptive cover letter. So we teach you how to write that story. And then that's where you get the phone call and they're like, hey, we loved your story, but wow, you've been working for yourself for a long time. Now you've got your shot. Okay. And this is where you're going to say, I know. And let me tell you why I want to go back in house. The reality is there's only so far you can go when you do your own thing. There's only a certain size clients you can take. There's only so many resources you have available to yourself to get to the next level, to work on the bigger stuff, the bigger projects, the new stuff. I need to go in-house. I need to work with a bigger company where I have peers who all have specialties, and together we can do the bigger projects. We can land the bigger jobs, the bigger assignments. I want to be working on bigger. I want to be growing. I've reached a point where owning my own company and being self-employed, it's the same stuff, and I want to be doing more. And the only way that's going to happen is if I go in-house and I have a bunch of amazing peers who all have their own specialties, and together we create great work together. So one, that's why I'm looking to go in-house. But two, let me tell you something. As someone who's owned their own company and knows how hard it is, what I'm most excited for is to treat it like it's my own business, but be lucky enough to have other people who are making those decisions. And so what you have to do, and I think you're seeing that in the way I'm talking about this, is really educate them on what's really happening and all the opportunity you see going back in-house, and the fact that you respect that bigger project, bigger assignments, and that it requires multiple people that are at a higher level that you would love to work alongside. And you can even say things like, it's really lonely being your own boss. It not only limits you in what you can do for work, but you're the only decision maker. You're all alone. I want peers. I want to work on bigger things. That's what they need to hear. And that's the truth, right? That's the key. Once you do that, now that makes sense to them. But in order to even get to that place to have that conversation, you're going to have to back channel and tell that disruptive cover letter story that makes them go, okay, wow, this person really got us. Let's at least give them a conversation and find out why the heck they want to go in-house after all these years of working independent. Now they're just curious. And that's where you're going to get your shot to explain it. So again, only so much you can do on the resume when you've been self-employed for a long time. It is the strategy that you use that I just shared that's actually going to get you the results you're looking for. Right. Yeah, very, very good. Awesome. Are contract jobs posted on the same job postings website? Oh, that's really interesting. So Sometimes contract jobs will be on the job boards, folks, but the better way to go after contract jobs is to research the top contract companies in your area and go directly to their website. That is the best way for you to find out about the most current contract opportunities, but also to get in touch with them directly. There's so many bogus jobs out there right now, so many scams on the big job boards. I don't advise you to go through them. I would much rather have you do the research and say, who are the best contract companies, best temporary agencies in my area for my skill set? All right, let me go find their websites and try to interact with them directly. That is your best bet in this market. Let's see. Will artificial intelligence impact job opportunities in the coming days? Oh gosh, yeah. Folks, artificial intelligence is disrupting so many jobs right now. So they've talked about this. Eventually, AI is going to create more jobs than it eliminates. But that's not going to happen at the same time. So what we're dealing with right now is the contraction of the labor force as companies have figured out all the ways they can save money and eliminate jobs using AI. That we knew that was coming. We absolutely knew that was coming, but that doesn't last forever. At the same time, once they finish all that contraction, they start to see new ways they can use AI. Companies start to build new products, new divisions using AI. So then what they're going to want to do is hire people to utilize the AI, and the hiring will gear up again. So we have this thing going on. We're in the contraction phase of what AI is doing to us, but eventually we'll be in the expansion phase where we're building new things and creating all this opportunity with AI. But I'm not talking a matter of days or weeks. You're talking a couple of years here. You're looking at another year of companies just slicing where they can, because literally an inexpensive AI tool just wiped out the need for 100 people. And companies will continue to do that because they don't want more employees. They want less. Employees are the most expensive thing for them to deal with. Anytime they can automate something without it having a negative impact on their business, they will. But so many new companies are being built. So many new ideas are being generated. So there will be a lot of opportunity down the line. It's just right now we're in that contraction phase, and that's what's creating this huge white collar job recession. Like, that's the problem that we have right now. The white collar job recession, the college educated jobs are being wiped out left and right due to AI. And so that won't be forever, but it is right now. And it's something we just need to face. So for all of you, if you're not studying the AI tools that are becoming part of the everyday in your work, you need to be paying attention to that. AI will impact every career, every job in some way. And people will go, no, it won't. I'm a plumber. No, it won't. I'm an electrician. If you don't think there's going to be AI tools on apps and things like that to help them speed their job up, you're crazy. There's going to be AI for everything. And that leads to a lot of opportunity. But for many jobs, it's wiping them out right now. And that's the problem. Yeah. Let's see. Very, very good. Yeah. So, okay. I'm just going to walk you through the landscape. It seems like there's first of all, a lot of new folks on here today. Hello to all my new folks. I'm JT. I'm a 20-year career coaching veteran. I'm the founder and CEO of Work It Daily. And I help thousands of people every single day inside our platform get new, better paying jobs. And we do that by teaching them the right way to look for work, the right way to brand themselves, the right way to connect with employers, the right way to negotiate their salary, the right way to do a lot of things that you've probably been doing wrong. Just going to be clear. Most of you should be in job search and career school right now, and you're not. So at least you're here and I can help you. But when you're ready to take it up a notch, I've got a couple of things that will really help you. Okay. All right. At the time I am recording this, okay, it is Tuesday, November 26th, 2024. We are in a white collar job recession. What that means is there are hundreds, even thousands of people competing for the same job. That means everyone looks the same. That means when you apply online, there's a 0.3% chance you're going to get a call back. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. The sheer volume of people applying is making it as hard as winning the lottery to get a job interview when you apply online. Applying online doesn't work in this market. So you have to approach the job search differently. And that's where most people stop. They just keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, and that's not going to happen. So if that makes sense to you right now, if you are somebody who has applied for 50 jobs, 100 jobs, 200 jobs, 500 jobs, I mean, if you're somebody that's mass applied and you've got nothing, you're doing it wrong. You need to stop right now. This is not going to work for you. Okay? You need to hear me and take a breath and just hear me on this. What is going to work for you is a more targeted and selected approach. We call it job shopping because when you shop, you what? You're targeted. You're looking at it based on your interests and your needs and your wants. Okay? You're getting more focused. This is what most job seekers are doing wrong. And I'm sure it sounds counterintuitive because you're like, well, wait, if it's so hard to get a job, don't I need to apply to more jobs? No, you don't. You need to do a better job of connecting with a smaller group of employers who you know can hire you. That is what we teach you at Work It Daily. We teach you how to back channel. We teach you how to create your connection story. We teach you how to brand yourself. We teach you how to network. We teach you how to do the things that are going to get you the results faster and more efficiently in this market. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, if that made sense, I have very, 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 very exciting news. This weekend, we quietly launched our free resource center. So if you go to the link in my bio, or maybe it's down below, you will see my free resource center link. In it, we put our 4 most popular webinars: Job Search Bootcamp, Self-Strengths Assessment, How to Change Careers, and Break Through Your Burnout. These are 4 video tutorials that are going to close your gap in knowledge very quickly on what's happening in this market and what you're going to need to do to work smarter, not harder. So if you've never worked with a career coach before, or maybe you got burned by a resume writer, whatever, the free resource center is for you. 100% free. Sign up and you will get access to these 4 tools. And just listen to the videos, because the fastest way for you to get all caught up in what's really going on right now in this market and to actually start to get the results you want is to understand this. Have you ever watched a documentary and your eyes were open? Think about a documentary that changed your life right now. Everybody in the chat, wherever you are, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you are, think about a documentary that changed your life, that opened your eyes. They gave you a massive aha moment and you were like, oh, I will never look at this the same way again. Does that make sense? We've all watched a documentary or a biography about somebody and we got educated and we went, holy moly, I will never look at this the same way again. And now I get it. Okay. That is what we are doing for you in your job searching career with the free resource center. We have just figured out that so many of you don't even have the right baseline of knowledge. You don't even have the basics that are going to make you understand, oh my gosh, I am doing everything wrong. I have wasted so much time. I want you to stop wasting time. And so my team and I said, what would be the best way to do this at scale? How do we get out there? We can't help millions of people. How could we help millions of people? And we were like, free resource center. These 4 things will at least are like a documentary that is going to completely shift your mindset and help you understand what actually needs to be done. And that's good, right? You don't want to be in the dark anymore. You don't want to be wondering. So if you want access, we quietly launched it over the weekend. You will find it linked in my bio. You'll find it at workitdaily.com. In the menu bar, it says free job tools. Okay. You'll find it again linked in the bio. It is our free resource center, 100% free, instant access, the documentary that is going to help you understand what is happening right now and what's going to continue to happen in this job market and what you're going to have to do so that you are not stressing out and spending way too much time. Frankly, so many people are wasting way too much time on job search. Job search is not a full-time job. Don't let anybody fool you. You shouldn't be working that hard on your job search. A really good job search can be taken care of in a minimal amount of time when it's done correctly. But again, if you think applying online to job after job after job is doing job search correctly, that's where you're wrong to begin with. You are completely off base. And the only way I'm going to be able to prove that to you is to educate you. So, Free Resource Center, go grab access to it, watch the videos, you will be transformed, and you will understand exactly what I'm talking about right now. Okay? Because I don't want you in pain. I don't want you to keep doing these things that just aren't working. Okay? Awesome. We're very proud of that. That is our gift to you in the holiday season, is this amazing Free Resource Center. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Company just had layoffs. I wasn't affected, but I want to start looking better now or after January. Oh my gosh. If your company just did layoffs and you got a job, start looking for work. Like if you kept your job, start looking for work now, right now. And you might be going, well, wait, it's the holidays. Folks, you're not going to find a job in a week. Quite frankly, you're not going to find one in a month. And you waiting till January, you and millions of other people are going to do that at the same time. Not a good decision. If you are worried about your job in any way, shape, or form right now, even if you survived a layoff and you know that you're going to want to look, you start now. Because by the time you set up your structure, get a pipeline going, getting this process going, like LinkedIn already gave an assessment that's saying it's taking companies 13 weeks to hire. It's taking companies over 3 months to select someone. So when you see a job posting, 3 months from then, you might get a job if you even get picked. That's how long it's taking to get jobs right now. So you do not wait. Do not wait till after the holidays to look for a job, folks. Do not. There's so much you could get done between now and January that will set you up to be ahead of the millions of people that are going to start in the end of January. Let's face it, I love that you asked that question, because that's what millions of people are going, yeah, I'm just going to enjoy the holidays. I'll start in January. Okay. Yeah. Versus you start now and you're in the pipeline, good to go. You're going to have a job faster. Yeah. Do not sleep on that. Start now. Yeah. Let's see. How do you explain a 6-month gap due to a layoff? Okay. Folks, anytime that you've been out of work after a layoff, you're going to have to explain why. And you might say, I don't know what to say. I've been looking for a job and I don't have one yet. Okay, that's great. But at the same time, they're going to want to hear you acknowledge some things about that process. So you might say, hey, if you had told me 6 months ago when I lost my job that I'd still be looking for work 6 months later, I wouldn't have believed you. I just assumed that there would be jobs out there that I would apply and I would get hired. I did not understand how hard the market was. I did not understand that many people were looking for a job. And looking back now, if I could have done something different, I think I would have targeted the companies that I knew I was a fit for faster and really tried to connect with them more quickly. Like one of the things you have to do, and that we teach all the time at Work It Daily, is something called an MOA, a moment of accountability. In order to be convincing anytime you're answering a difficult question in a job interview. Okay, so why have you been out of work so long? Why did you get let go? Okay, why have you jumped jobs so many times? Anytime, why were you fired? Anytime you're answering these really tough questions, the answer is going to land better if you include a moment of accountability. Now, what that means is I'm not saying that you're saying you did anything wrong. That is not what a moment of accountability is. A moment of accountability is you saying, I need to learn from every situation. This is a powerful situation. This is not the outcome I wanted. So let me tell you, let me acknowledge it's not the outcome I wanted. Let me tell you that if I could go back in time, based on what I know now, here are 1 or 2 things I do differently. When you do that, you show that you know how to learn and grow from your situation. And that brings legitimacy to your answer. If you don't include a moment of accountability, instead you're trying to kind of explain away the situation, it looks like you're dancing around it. Nobody's expecting you to be perfect, and we're not saying you did anything wrong. But we are hoping that you can learn from your situation and share us what you've learned from that situation. That is a moment of accountability. And that is what you need to include anytime you are answering a difficult question in a job interview. I hope that made sense. Yeah, very good. Awesome. Very, very good. You guys are great. Thank you so right. Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for your kind words, your likes, your diamonds, your shares. Like the one way you're helping me is by helping me spread the word, especially now with our new free resource center, because I get it. There are a lot of people that can't afford coaching, and that's okay. But at least this free resource center is going to give you what you need to understand in this market. So if you haven't downloaded the free resource center and gotten access to it, please hop over there and get your access. You'll find the link in my bio. You'll find it on our website, Work It Daily. 100% free. You set your account up, boom, you have access to these videos, to these resources to really help you understand. If you do nothing else this week and you want to just really learn and set yourself up for success going forward, that's what I would advise you to do. Yeah, like I'm going to actually take Thanksgiving off here in the US, so I won't have a podcast that day. I want you to watch the videos then. I really want you to enjoy your Thanksgiving. But if you're one of those type A people like me that just has to do a little bit every day to feel productive, that's what you could do. Right? And Friday you could do it. And then next week we'll be back. But the free resource center is just a great, great tool for all of you. Awesome. Oh, what advice do you have for someone changing careers? Let's okay. If you are looking to change careers in 2025, this is the single most important piece of information I need you to understand. Do not sleep on this, because if you do, changing careers will be very difficult for you. Okay, how do I know that? As a 20-year career coaching veteran who helps people change careers all the time, I can tell you that the big mistake people make is a lack of signaling. Now, the way I like to explain this is if you were on the highway, especially on the Autobahn, the German Autobahn where there's no speed limit, and you were going 150 miles an hour on a crowded road, you would not just swerve into the next lane, you would signal. You would turn on your blinker so the people knew you were moving. Yes? That is what has to happen when you're changing careers. You can't just decide you're going to change careers and think that everybody's going to know it and understand it. And let me give you a beautiful example of that. Your resume and even your LinkedIn profile is a static tool, meaning it's a historical tool of what you've done. That means that anytime somebody sees your resume or your LinkedIn profile, the jobs they think you can do are the jobs you've already done. So that means if you're changing careers, your resume and your LinkedIn profile are useless because they don't convey that you can do this job that you want to get into because you don't have any experience, any evidence to prove that you can do it. So when you're changing careers, if you think just applying to jobs because you've decided to change careers, they will notice you, not going to happen. You're being tossed. Instead, you're going to have to signal to that industry, to that skill set, that you are in fact a match for that job, and a resume won't do it. You will have to learn how to create a connection story and deliver that connection story in a format that can get somebody to look at you and say, ooh, this person really gets our industry. This person really gets our profession. Let's see more about them. Then when they see your profile, they're like, wait a minute. This person doesn't come from our profession, doesn't come from our industry, but dang, that connection story was so solid. They clearly get it. Get them on the phone. Let's have a conversation with that person. That is signaling. That is the technique that we have been teaching and helping people who want to switch careers get their foot in the door, because you've got to lead with something else. And if you don't know how to do that, you are going to make switching careers very difficult on yourself, probably next to impossible. Because right now, companies hire for exact matches when you apply online, and you're not an exact match. The only way to get a foot in the door is to share a story that makes them go, oh, this person gets us. They understand it. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's have a conversation with them because that was so compelling. You provided an alternative form of evidence, of proof that you could do the job. And the only way you're going to do that is if you learn the right back channeling techniques and connection story techniques to make that happen. Now, if you want to learn how to change careers, I'll teach you step-by-step inside Work It Daily. I have little video training that you can watch in just 15 minutes a day. And all of a sudden, you're going to have the right strategy and the right tools and the right tactics, like a recipe for success in order to change careers. That is inside my Work It Daily program. So when you're ready for that, you can come on over and we will speed this whole thing up for you. Okay. But please make sure that you understand that just putting a resume together and applying to jobs you want is not going to work for you. If you want to change careers, it is a totally different way of doing it. Applying online will not work. But I'm happy to teach you signaling. I'm happy to show you step by step with my videos how to do that so that you can speed up your search and change careers. Just come to Work It Daily and grab a membership and we'll get going. Awesome. Wonderful. Okay, team. Such a great session. Very, very good. I haven't had to search for a job my entire career. Now I'd like to leave my firm and work for a private company. I'm not sure where to start. Wow. If you have never looked for work in your entire career, like maybe you're one of those people that has had the same job and just or worked for the same company for 20 years, but you moved jobs, or maybe you're one of those people that just always fell into a job and then somehow you got offered another job and just your whole life you never actually looked for a job. This one's for you. When you've never actually looked for a job, the good news is you have no bad habits. Okay, that's the good news. You have no bad habits. You're like a clean slate. The bad news is you're probably going to go out there and do what you see everybody else doing and actually make it take forever to get a new job. So if I could give one piece of advice to the person that's never had to look for a job in their life is to go back to job search school and learn to do it correctly from the beginning. Please don't slap together a resume. Please don't start just applying online, getting discouraged, getting confused, losing your confidence. Please give yourself the gift of learning it the right way the first time. Because when you learn it the right way the first time, you're going to work smarter, not harder. And you're going to speed this process up. And you're not going to be frustrated because you're going to feel in control. Job seekers feel out of control right now, especially people who have looked for work before. And even all the things they did before are now not working. You feel a complete lack of control. And that is scary, but that doesn't have to happen to you. If you are willing to learn job search the right way from the get-go, it's unbelievable how much time and heartache it will save you. So please make sure you get some job search coaching. And that leads into my free gift to all of you. It is the holiday season, the new free resource center. We have taken 4 of our most powerful videos, put them in a platform completely free for you to learn and get the understanding that you need right now. There are just some things, folks, that you don't know right now that are hurting your job search, that are hurting your career. And if you want to learn those for free, we've put them in our free resource center. We're going to become your new favorite free career coach with this platform. And you'll find it over linked in my bio, linked down below. You'll find it at Work It Daily in our free job tools. You're going to get access to this. And all you have to do is listen. All you have to do is sit back like a podcast, listen. And you are going to very quickly understand what's happening. You're going to see where your job search is broken. You're going to see where you're off track. And you're finally going to start to get some clarity. Give yourself the gift of clarity. Start there. Okay? Start there. I promise you. It is going to help you. That's why we built it. Because there's just millions of people out there right now that need this information. And this was the easiest and smartest way for us to give it to you. Okay? So I hope to see a bunch of you in the free resource center. I hope to see a bunch of you tomorrow. I will be live at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So wherever you're following me, again, JT Talks Jobs, the live podcast is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, except this Thursday, I'm taking off for the Thanksgiving holiday in the U.S. Okay, but I will be back tomorrow. RSVP, follow me on the channels, and I'll see you then, okay? And go grab that free resource center. I promise you, game changer for you. All right. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.